Ain't nobody watching my shit.
Well, it's on my channel too, so don't say that.
Oh, fair point. I hadn't thought of that. So I have it. Oh shit! Remember, I'm not professional.
Do you even have water with you yet? God.
Do I have 64 ounces of it?
Okay, poor hater.
What? Dehydration hater.
You're talking shit on my Rule King purified water.
I'm just against microplastics.
I am too, but it literally tastes so much better than the shitty water at my house.
You know, it's because they got fluoride in the water, right?
Well, no, this is on a well. I don't think there's fluoride in there.
Oh, okay.
But there is whatever the fuck my neighbors have been pouring in their yard for the past 30 years.
Atrazine. It turns the frogs gay.
Oil pan? What? This is Fort McCoy.
What do you mean Roundup? So, I have the bullet points this time. I actually fucking made bullet points.
The same ones you sent me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Why would I send you different bullet points?
To fuck with me, make me look dumb? I don't know.
I don't have to work hard to do that.
Because you're reading so much Musashi that you're just using deception in everything you do?
Musashi doesn't talk about deception.
Whatever.
You.
Oh, yeah, whatever. They all look the same to me. They look like you.
I'm working on my Musashi beard.
We'll get a haircut, you nasty hippie.
Cut what? Cut what?
My new favorite thing to say to my bald friends.
Yeah.
Get a haircut.
I don't just get one haircut. I get them all cut, motherfucker. Anyways, so it's Dokudo number 7.
Who is this?
Who is? I don't have the chat up because you said we don't read chat.
I know, but I can see it.
Oh.
I'll get rid of it. Here. Now I can't see it. Now I can
focus. You go. Now we can follow your rules.
But I will give Casey a hello for saying, who is this?
Anyways, so it's number 7 today.
Yes.
And number 7 is never be jealous. I also have on the subtext there the alternative translation that they all use, or that's being used. And so I went out and I found the dictionary definition of jealous. My understanding was there was only 2. Apparently there's a third, and of course it's fucking blurry as fuck, and I can't do nothing about it.
I can see it fine.
Okay. Well, on my screen.
Yeah. If you make the screen full size, it'll be fine.
Oh, hey. That's why I can't see it. Hey.
Oh, people on their phones probably can't see anything. But
yep, that's what I was thinking. So when I do this is I'm trying to figure out what Musashi means, especially in modern times when he says things like never be jealous. Right? And so I'm going to ask you, what does that mean to you?
For me, it's kind of like envy. Like if I think about jealousy, and of course we all get jealous at one point, but like, I can't draw exactly where in Christianity it would come from. I'm sure you could help me out from that. I know I've heard it in there, but it's also it's kind of a loser mindset to be jealous. That's another big thing. And when you see like an insecurity come out in people, a lot of time it is jealousy. I've had it with my relationship too. Having a young hot wife that. Guy, like when we first started dating, there's some of my friends that I've cut off, like a diseased hand. I cut it off, let it crawl away. But they were like, oh, she blah, blah, blah. And you guys are never going to last and blah, blah, blah. And, really you learn later that they actually have a miserable relationship and they are jealous of what you have. I've also seen that too, like in, YouTube comments where someone will talk mad shit. You look at their page and they tried to start a YouTube channel. Like they wrote out the description, maybe posted 1 to 7 videos. And now they're mad that like people are giving you attention. That's another version of it. But it's also a general loser mentality to be jealous. Like, someone has, it could be anything. It could be they inherited stuff, they worked for stuff, they have something, and they'll be like, oh yeah, well, fucking his dad is rich. All right. Oh, okay. How about shut the fuck up and make it so people talk about your kids that way, that fucking they have what they have because you worked your ass off, or like whatever it is. The basic thing is jealousy is gay and loser shit, so don't do it. That's my big thing whenever I think of it, whenever I see it coming out in a conversation. Envy, jealousy, it's gay and stupid, and don't do it.
Well, as a cautionary tale, how would you say it takes away from a student trying to become better with firearms violence, even outside of realm of violence? If you look at anything, how does jealousy take away from what you are trying to do?
Well, okay, so there could be a couple different things. It could be you're comparing your target to theirs, right? Simple example online. We always tell people not to do it. Naturally, we're all kind of doing it. There is a competitive thing there. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing to be a little bit competitive, but if you were just like, I wish I could shoot that good, if it was like that, then that would be back to loser mindset. If you're competitive in the way that you're like, fuck, I want to be better than him at that. I know I'm better at these other things, but I want to be able to shoot better than him on the target too. I am that way. Like, I'll fully admit, whenever I see someone shooting a drill better than me, I'm like, I want to do better than them at that.
Yeah.
Even if I don't say it, like, my way of saying it would be like, dude, you fucking crushed it. But in my brain, I'm still like, I want to be better than that, even if I'm outwardly nice about it. So I don't necessarily think the competitive side is bad. But if it's like you think it's just a God-given talent, and fucking some guys,
Some guys are.
and
Some guys come out the womb with a gun and just shoot that way.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's just like that's an easier skill for them to obtain. Where, like, I would say I've had to work for it. There's been, I'd say, like, sewing, I got pretty good at pretty fast. Design, I'm pretty naturally inclined towards. But it's also like, it's not like I just bought a sewing machine and some nylon and invented really cool shit. It's like I thought about it really hard, and you can ask my wife, like, when she sees me staring blankly, and she's like, I'm either thinking I don't think that much about nylon gear, unless like it's like, hey, what if we had a thing that did this? And then I would naturally be like, well, it should be like this, and it should be designed this way, and this strap should be here, and let's not do that retarded thing that this other one has, but like, my wife will look at me and be like, let me guess, you're thinking about reholstering. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking about the cross step with the one-handed draw, maybe passing to this hand for the ability to move to that. Or like, it's a really crazy, too in-depth thing to have a conversation about, So I do think naturally I'm kind of like that. I wouldn't, and maybe that would be a thing to be jealous of if someone's brain just works like that, but it still wouldn't help anyone get better. Like, I would try, I guess through this rambling, I would say if you're ever feeling jealous in a way, try to turn and you actually want to be good at that thing that you're jealous of, or you want that thing you're jealous of, try to take that and harness it into a more of a competitive nature to achieve that thing.
So you would say that becoming too jealous or being jealous breeds that loser mindset of, he shoots better than me, I will never be as good as him.
Yeah. It's like in class, I tell people you're not allowed to say I can't, because that and mentally it makes them incapable. So the simple example where I had to just start telling them you're not allowed to say I can't, and I tell them that's what losers say, and it would be like ladies being like, I can't rack the gun, and I'm like, show me how you do it, and she's like, I can't do it, and then they'll that thing, and I'll be like, okay, it is not that you can't do it; it's that technique sucks.
Right.
Right.
So we would say that that is when you have a student that sits there and says, I can't shoot, I can't run a slide, whatever the variability is, it's more than likely because they've already seen somebody else do it who's maybe better shape, maybe been at it way longer. And because they're jealous of that skill set that person spent, we don't know how much time, they go, well, I can't do it because X, Y, Z reason.
And I think that's probably like I've definitely seen that happen in conversations where I think the jealousy over someone, what they have, it could be stuff, students, ability, whatever, but that turns into resentment for that person. And then I will typically see that they don't work hard to achieve that other thing. Right.
That's next week's.
Example could be like, how many fucking great instructors are we friends with that just are not putting out video content consistently, right? Yeah. Like I put out a video today. I had to sacrifice, other shit to be able to do that. But it's also like, I don't want to one day be like, maybe if I was putting out videos, I would have achieved the thing I was trying to achieve.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be the big YouTuber without how much time. When you do the interviews with all the big time YouTubers, how did you get so popular? It's like, I put out a fuck ton of content with 0 views, and then one day I got lucky.
Yeah, it's either do the work or join the CIA,
Yes. So that will conclude that, unless you have something else you want to say about never be jealous. The subtext on the more bellicose translation of it is, I was never jealous over matters of good and evil. So, but I don't think I think you kind of hit it on the head, because it is a matter of good and evil. It doesn't matter what it is you do, just push to do it. So moving right along. Oh shit. Again, award-winning service, award-winning professionalism. You went and upset the intranets.
Yes.
And you said something that I wound up making a fucking video on too.
I'm gonna make another too. I'm
like, there's no fucking way people are finding fault in this. I get when people got mad at me. I understand that. But what the fuck did he say wrong? What is it you said? Don't fucking use stuff made for small woodland animals?
Bird shot for home defense. Yeah. And I threw a quote in there, and I'll give credit now, but it came from Dr. House. It was like, bird shot doesn't even kill birds all the time. But yeah, don't use bird shot for home defense. And as I was getting the comments and the reactions to that, it was, because it's like a couple day process, or it's just like, what, like, what, you really think that? And like, if you see the fallacies and their logic and stuff, I sent if you'd have to scroll through your phone like 4 times, I sent a voice to text to Zach Bush, and it's all fucked up because it's voice to text. I'm driving, it's loud, and so I told him I said at the end, I had to type it. I'm like, this is voice text, that's why it looks all fucked up. But I plan on making another like actual full-length video on this subject, because so many more things came up, but I'm gonna reference those notes while we talk about it too.
I was not expecting that to take off nearly the way it did. Obviously, it's not one of your most hated videos. Obviously, it's not fundamentals and that silliness. But what more astonished me was how fervently people defended birdshot as a home defense load.
Yep.
I'm not a shotgun guy. I've never claimed to be a shotgun guy. I will take classes and become shotgun guy, but as of right now, I'm a rifle pistol guy.
Do you have?
And even I know that you shouldn't use fucking birdshot for home defense.
Do you have a shotgun yet?
Yeah, I got a Mossberg 590.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went out, got a shotgun. I got one of the better ones out there. So, and
Yeah,
it's got a bayonet lug, so I can use
there we
bayonet
go.
with it. And
In
that's why
case
the
a bird
Mossberg
shot.
590
Yeah.
is the first. That's in
Yeah,
case the
I
bird
will
got
say
fucked up.
if you are and fucking that's hilarious. I'm gonna make a note for that video too. If you are using birdshot for home defense, make sure it's a 590A1 so you can put a bayonet on it and actually get penetration with that
You
gun.
could put the M9 bayonet on it.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I actually bought the bayonet for the shotgun. Apparently, most people buy the shotgun or buy the shotgun for the bayonet, and they're like, "Oh, hey, look, it happens to fit." I was like, "Hey, it looks like a bayonet lug. What
See,
goes
Tom,
here?"
this is Tom. He's poor hating on me again. First, he has better water than me. Now he has a bayonet lug on his shotgun. Like now, I
Well,
just
I
feel
mean,
like
you could go
shit.
fix yourself.
Now
Mossberg's on
I'm
its own.
jealous and resentful.
I think you have a Mossberg. You just showed me your Mossberg.
Yeah, I got a couple, but I don't have a bayonet lug on any of them.
Oh,
I got a couple guns with bayonet lugs. Like I don't know, 3, 4. No, like
It's a
if we're
lost art
including
that needs to come
AKs,
back.
then more. But
Nothing tells people I'm fucking serious like a bayonet.
yeah,
I'm just saying, there's a reason the Marine Corps keeps using it. They never gave up. So why do you think it is that people use birdshot? I know we got some fucking comments from people. I'm not going to verbatim quote them, but
so
as-
I think there's a moral thing to it, and there's a lack of knowledge thing to it. I talked about Zach Bush too, so I'm also thinking about our conversation. But yeah, so there is the side of like I don't want to kill someone. That is a factor. I didn't get many comments like that though. I've had people say that to me in person throughout the years, but I think there is that moral side where some people recommend it for that. There's also, I think, people think they're less likely to, have a court battle if they don't kill the guy and he just runs away. That
if only that's how that worked.
Maybe, like maybe birdshot will stop him. Maybe it will fucking kill him.
Maybe the
know,
scumbag was so thankful that you didn't kill him that he chose not to sue you civilly, as he's able to do.
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot that could happen, but the biggest thing is just like kind of a lack of knowledge, I think, and also FUD mythery, right? And that's been propagated throughout the years. Like even now, if like today, if you make a video saying that you have a bunch of loaded mags, which I've done too, and people freak out and they say like those mags aren't going to work when you go to use them, and I'm like,
Every soldier that was shot and killed in Afghanistan was shot with a magazine that was loaded when the Soviets invaded back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like if an American soldier was shot and killed in Afghanistan, it was from a rifle that was using a magazine that had been stored with all 30 in it since the 80s.
Well, it's like, I think there was a time when that was a thing and springs, would wear out if they were compressed too long, possibly. But the other thing is like, if you think about it, like, and like, my buddy who owns a gun store, he was like dry firing his guns before we put them on the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, that way the spring's not compressed. I'm like, dude, like none of my guns would work anymore if that were true, because 100% of the hammer springs or fucking
I wonder
striker springs are compressed right now, and I've never gone to shoot my gun and been like, oh shit, I should have decompressed the hammer.
I wonder if people know that they're even if they're decompressed, they're still coiled. You're only alleviating this much.
Let's stick to birdshot.
Yeah. Stop with the FUDlore shit.
But yeah, FUDlore.
I'm just saying. Anyways,
so FUDlore, where's that come from, right? It's just due to own guns or due to think they know about guns, fucking saying shit like it's fact, right? And there is a sense of logic behind what they are saying, but it's also within the frame of how they think, right?
Right.
So my number one thing why you don't use birdshot for home defense is it's too fucking late for that. Like, they're breaking into your home, you're there. You know, for you or me, our kids and our wife are there too. So it's like, this is the time is now. And if I fail, that could mean horrible, horrible things for my family. Right.
Right.
So if I'm going to have to shoot at a dude who potentially will be shooting back at me, who potentially will shoot before I see him, I want it to be something that will stop him. And this is where a shotgun is actually awesome. You know, and this is like one of those other things, like within shotgun myths, you know, where guys hate them because, you know, AR-15s are so nice to shoot, basically. That's the basic thing. They are super nice to shoot. Now, like, would I want my mom or grandma or even my wife using the 12 gauge? No, my wife hates shooting the 12 gauge. She's like, I don't like shotguns. Why do people like them? And then I go through and explain the stuff. But like, for a dude who's competent with a shotgun, you know, if you're coming around and you're going to get one trigger press on him, that first trigger press, the most likely thing you're going to stop him with is 12 gauge double-aught buck. You know, I mean, we could get specific on all the different loads or whatever, but like, if I were to bet money, what would be the most likely thing that I would have to stop that dude? And, you know, without going to like, oh, Barrett 50 cal flamethrower. No,
bayonet.
Yeah, fucking, if I get my first trigger press on him with double-aught buck, it's probably gonna fucking stop him. If anything, if I hit him anywhere, it is going to change his behavior, potentially to the point where he can't fight me anymore. And you know, and if like if I were to think what would be the thing I would want to not get shot with the most breaking into a house, it'd be fucking double-aught buck. That's where shotguns are really good. Like getting that one shot on him, if that's all you got time for, and that's all you're gonna get, potentially there's more. Like 12 gauge double-aught buck is awesome. Birdshot isn't.
Well,
like,
if you break, what's the grain weight of a double-aught buck pellet? Just one.
I don't know, but it's kind of, it's a little
I
bit
saw somewhere that it's like 40 to 50 grain.
The simple way I explain it, it's smaller than 9mm, right? Kind of like closer to 380 in size, but they're going faster than 9mm. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to fucking double check, but
I'd have to double check.
But it's going faster, and it's kind of like, instead of giving him one shot, it's kind of like if you were to use a submachine gun and give a 8 or 9 shot burst right on him all at once.
You're shooting him
kind of what you're doing.
One trigger.
Yeah.
That's it.
And depending on the distance, the load, your gun, all that, like, you're potentially hitting more parts of him too. Because like, another thing to think about, Platinmatics, right? When the dude, that Miami-Dade shootout, bad guy gets shot in the heart, kills 2 FBI agents, right? Well, buckshot, you potentially hit him in the heart and in other places too. You know, like, just because they're bleeding to death doesn't mean they can't still fight. But, you know, say like a right-handed dude, and then you fuck up his right arm at the same time as hitting his heart, he's less able to fight and he's going to die.
Well, and therein lies the point, though. If you look at Platinmatics again, one of them was shot so many times that he could have been shot on the operating table in the exact same way. He went on for another 30 minutes, killing and shooting way more people. And so if we break down a home defense situation, this is not a person of correct mind frame, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're at the wrong address. They went through a presumably locked door. My house, they ignored like 100 beware vicious fucking dog signs. And now you're in my home. So you're trying to rationalize this person. Well, you know, birdshot. I don't know why. I have respect for the person that will tell you in private, I don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah,
right.
I get it.
I can understand that. I can rationalize that, and I can back that up actually, because look, you at least
Yeah.
you're adult enough to admit that this is not the goal. I would tell you, don't use a shotgun because you're only going to amplify everything.
Well, I don't want to kill anyone, except pedophiles. I think they should all be killed. But
Well,
like,
the
but they're
obvious
not
answer is
people,
aside.
but also it's the weighing out. It's like, what happens if you fail? And so is his life more valuable, or is your wife and kids' life more valuable?
Right.
And that's an easy question for me,
And even if you don't have a wife and kids, everybody else, because if they beat you to death with your salt loaded 12 gauge shotgun, remember at the end of the day, it's still a 12 gauge shotgun that you can go to any gun shop, Sportsman's Warehouse, Cabela's, buy 12 gauge, probably slugs this time, buckshot, and now you've given them a lethal weapon.
Mhm.
And that's why I say if you're
Yeah.
not down to kill them, and you're not down to use this in what it's designed to do, which is take life, don't bring it. Don't introduce it to the situation, because when you get beat to death with it, now you've just armed bad guys, and we don't arm bad guys.
Yeah, that could be the thing too.
One part on your family, the other part on everybody the fuck else.
But the other part is, like, again, they're within their frame, right? So in their frame, they're the badass, right? That's just a fucking problem guys have, right? And we've all had it at one point. We probably all have it now, whether we know it or not. But
I wouldn't know.
in their frame, they're the badass, and of course they're gonna get the first shot, and of course it's gonna work, because literally you can read the comments on Instagram. They'll know I mean business.
Hey Andrew, I got a question for you. Have you ever met a person who lost at shadow boxing?
I never. Right, you're talking about where they're just like this with no one involved, right? No.
Yeah. You've never met that person, but they've got this elaborate fight in their head going on.
Yeah.
That's why they call it shadow boxing. You're boxing your own shadow. I've never met a person who's lost at shadow boxing either.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when you think it's your gunfight and not the gunfight.
And it's where, like, everyone should do force on force training. Like, I was actually thinking about doing a permit class where, like, at the end of it, you had to do a force on force scenario, like, and I can make it a free permit class even too, but
gun control
it might actually
overnight. I'm just saying
it might scar some people. I don't know. I would try to make it easy though.
That's why I say gun control would pass overnight. The number of people who this is a ongoing issue is the number of people who are pain adverse to the point that they'll give up everything else just to avoid pain. That's why force on force classes, though they are popular, they've become, in my opinion, commercialized.
Well, they're not popular. There's only a couple places that really do.
All I ever hear people talk about is you should take a force on force. Now, whether or not that person takes a force on force is beyond me, but that's like badass. I take force on force classes and eat 7 rounds for breakfast.
I mean, the guys I hang out with that do force on force, they take violence more seriously, and that's kind of my thing. Is like, within that because force on force will, if it's good, will break that frame of I'm the infinite badass who's gonna win every fight. I had someone will remain nameless. Doesn't train, of course. Hunts and knows everything. He's like, I don't do all that movement stuff. I just shoot him if I feel like I need to. Okay, all right, that's a great plan. Yep, I'm fucking nothing. You can't fucking really do anything for him, But it's like that. That's it right there. They think they're gonna win. They're the victory of their scenario every time. Yeah. And now so my thing is, I'm not going to fucking make myself less capable with birdshot. Right now, the other part to it, of course, is they say, no, it has great penetration. And usually they would say within 20 feet. Now, first thing, if you were measuring the distance in feet when talking about shooting, I know you suck ass at shooting. Like, are we going to fucking measure it in inches next? How far we can shoot? 20 feet is less than 7 yards. What has better penetration at 7 yards than birdshot? A
That was
fucking knife has better penetration because he can close the distance on you fast.
Well,
and you
and
know the guys with the birdshot in their guns, most of them do not actually have a shell chambered.
right.
Well,
Well,
then we're gonna
and
rack
that,
that shit to scare
well,
them
that
away.
comes to the next point, though, right? I don't want the projectiles to go through the drywall and into bystander, whatever bedroom, and that is what really got me saying, "Oh no," because YouTube's been around for how long now?
Yeah.
Like 20 years almost,
Yeah.
coming up on it. And ever since YouTube became public, like the first gun video ever was, let's see if it goes through drywall. I mean, Demolition Ranch made a killing off of just putting birdshot, buckshot, Legos, and ladybugs, and spark plugs and dildos in a 12 gauge to see if it would penetrate drywall, gel blocks, or a door.
Yeah.
And so the whole it won't go through the wall thing. It's like, but you could easily just debunk that for yourself with like birdshot versus drywall.
Yeah.
Now, yes, there's drywall, there's the insulation, and then there's another piece of drywall. And at distance, right, of 20 feet, maybe probably more, right? Just saying. Yeah, the birdshot's going to lose its penetrative potential faster than a solid projectile like a 22 or something like that. But at the distances we're talking about for a home defense situation, I don't think people realize it's going to be, where's the camera? About that big. And it's just going to punch this one spot.
Well, it's like there's also this like mix up of logical fallacies going on, and it's like I won't say it's always from like the same guy will say these three things. It's kind of a mixture of them just going around, but it's okay. It has great penetration at X number of feet. Also, I don't want to kill him. Conflicting, and then it won't penetrate the drywall. So okay, so it's gonna penetrate and kill the guy, but it's not going to go through the drywall. Okay. All right. And then there's also like, I had one guy comment that, well, if I mistakenly shoot a small child, and I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, all right. Like, this is where it's a big part of it too, is just a huge lack of fucking competence.
Would you say it's a lack of, well, I mean, yeah, it's a lack of competence born out of a lack of training.
Yeah. And a lack of knowledge,
that's really what it is.
But it's like, and a big part of it is trying to make fucking violence safe.
Well, I sent you a memory today, and I got thinking about it. It's really hard to take advice from people about what is or is not safe from the people who have to use open netting so that they can see that there's someone downrange.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult to take your opinions on safety that seriously, sir. You require this in order to prevent yourself from fucking this up versus willfully and knowledgeably shooting a target with person downrange.
Yeah.
And that's what and this is going to be a little bit of a tangent, but this is what I've noticed across all the realms of martial arts, right? Mm. So if you look at karate, Japanese martial art of fighting without a sword. In case this guy got a sword, I got to stab him. I got to snap his neck and shit, right? Punch him in the face, snap his neck. Hoo-yah. And I watched a karate tournament the other day. Just was curious, like, how do they do this? A person got disqualified because they punched him in the nose. I was watching a jiu-jitsu guys, and someone goes into the jumping guard, so he's wrapped on him as he's standing, and the guy slams him on the mat, disqualified. It's like, well, why is he disqualified? Don't jump on me, and I won't. I thought this was a fight. Well, it's not safe for their spine. Well, then don't jump on me. That would be a bad tactic. I mean, in our industry, we would say that that's probably a bad tactic. You should try something different so that doesn't happen.
You know, the first fist fight I was in, I haven't been in many, but second fist fight I was in 4th grade against a 5th grader, and I twisted his balls really hard.
That's a disqualification.
I won after that. Okay.
Right.
But I found out later that there's a thing called testicular torsion, and you can potentially kill someone with that.
Yeah.
So I almost like a little bit more, and I would have killed him in 4th grade.
Well, don't do that.
I guess. I don't know. I haven't researched it that far, but yeah, twist their balls if you have to, I would say.
The point is, though, is like this is a gunfight. I don't know why you're in my house. I don't know. I didn't invite you. You could just be here for my TV. Chances are not, right?
I mean, you're coming in when I'm here? No, it's not just my TV.
It's dark. I understand that, but I'm here, and you ran that risk. You ran that gamble. So why would I be trying to make this safe? What am I going to get disqualified? There, you can, as some people pointed out. Well, I'll just use rock salt and shoot him in the face with it.
Well, lack of competency, right? Because it's like when you go to classes and there's way, way more stuff than the 4 rules going on as far as safety. And I get it, firing line makes sense. Go handle your gun up there. Makes sense. I use that in my classes because, you know, like especially when we got brand new guys. But it's like if you try to make it safer and safer and safer, it is like every time you take one more safety step, you're pushing away from people being competent to the point where the most safe thing for us to practice violence with is finger guns without moving.
Yeah. Did you read Zach Bush's write-up there?
Not yet, but
he talks about, you know, when we push for safety, we take away from risk, right? And it goes back to the karate and the jiu-jitsu. Slams him on the mat. Oh my God. Well, the risk involved with that technique is you jump up and you get slammed on the ground, right? The risk with not keeping your hands up is you get punched in the face. These are the consequences for your inactions or actions. And so it's no different than training. And so when we try to make things safer and safer, you know, it's like, why do you have I don't know about your classes, but in my classes, when we do any sort of gun work, unless it involves, I need bullets, I need to actually launch a projectile, you're not going to find a blue gun. Mm-hmm. I just have you unload your shit. Mm-hmm. And we do work from there. Well, why do I do that? Because every time I've ever handed someone a fucking airsoft gun or a blue gun, their brain changes.
Yeah, it does.
Everything about them fucking changes. This stopped being educational, and it started. The timer starts, and how long before this becomes a game? Mm-hmm. Right? How many times have you seen it where people will take shots that with a real fucking gun they would never have done, but with airsoft ammunition or whatever the fuck. Sorry, Andrew. Didn't mean to shoot you in the eye. That was my
yeah. Even I've seen it too, because like I've shot the wrong person force on force, and it crushed my soul. Like I felt like a piece of shit. But I'm glad I did it there. It made me better the next time I went. Like way fucking better. It changed it. Like for me, I was like, hey, that's not fucking happening again. But I've also seen it where guys shoot the wrong person, and you know, because they're not taking it seriously. They don't take violence seriously. You know,
because it became a toy.
Mm-hmm.
And probably because you handed them a toy.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand, you know, we don't put loaded firearms and go, all right, now wrestle for it. Right. Mm-hmm. That's a great way for someone to die.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Calvin and I did a 3-hour thing kind of talking about like different dimensions of training. And basically we would like to push them towards like the highest level, you know, the thing I described, which would be fucking crazy to do, with people. But like, basically, imagine we got people to this level. Again, this is not a drill I'm doing in class, but you got the targets, and you got several people walking behind the targets and knocking over my mic,
Technical
and
foul.
walking in front, and the targets are also over your shoulder, and you're both fucking shooting as fast as you can into those targets while you're both getting shot with sim guns. Like, that's a level we'd like to go to.
You mean?
But
you
it's
mean
kind
that
of crazy and
video with
reckless.
Larry Vickers.
Yeah,
That one's old
No,
as shit.
the one I described would be more than that.
Than that.
And the other part would be all the people walking would have loaded
think-
guns, finger on the wall, aimed at the shooters too, and remaining in control. But would I ask someone to do that drill? No, I would not.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't want to do that drill. But do I want to be capable of it? Yes, I do. You know.
Well, it's like every time every once in a while that video from Brazil shows up again. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're just walking in front of the students while
It's
they're
the
shooting,
instructor
right?
just running back and forth, and they go, "Oop, instructor. Okay, bang, bang. Oop."
Yeah, they just
Bang, bang.
follow the 4 rules and nothing bad happens, and
Yeah,
everyone freaks out about
Every
it.
fucking time I ask these
Yeah.
fucking Muppets, which rule's broken? I don't know which. Because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, because who the fuck do you want next to you? Do you want unload show clear guy, or the guy who has shot past a bunch of people already, like done this already, and it's not a big deal to them? You know, and again, the further you try to get towards safety, is the further away you are from competency. But
which is the closer you try to get to safety, the farther from safety you get.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that is. Every person I've ever seen who says I'm safe and I do things safe, it has a loaded gun when they go to clean it because they didn't do that. Well, of course it's not loaded. That's me. I know my shit's loaded. It's not safe. All of it. What do I know to do every time I go to fucking oil them? Fucking unload this shit.
But like now, kind of like along the lines of that, because we should get back to the topic. It would be like trying to make it safe in the fight, right? So you don't want to shoot your kid. Yes, I agree. I don't want to shoot any kid. Okay. Especially not my own. However, I also don't want the bad guy to do anything to them. And so I'm not going to fucking put bird shot in my gun because that's the thing I have to do to not kill my own kid. Like,
they make flashlights.
Imagine people being like, dude, my car only goes 5 miles an hour so that I don't possibly kill anyone. Yeah, no, so I don't kill anyone with my car, because at 5 miles an hour, it's not going to kill anyone. And then someone else will be like, well, but unless I put them on the ground and then run over their
Unless
head.
I do it in a certain way.
Yeah, and it'd be like, well, you sound like a fucking terrible driver who shouldn't have a car.
Right.
But yet,
I saw that shit. My question was, they make flashlights, right? You could go beep. Oh, hey, maybe I should.
I won't shoot that kid.
Look, I got one right here.
Yeah.
So,
but the other thing is, like, it is the most fucking known location. Your home, home that you get to set up.
We're going to go into that now.
Yeah.
Right. Because that brought on, I got a class called BBB, which I'll be teaching after the muster, August 6th and 7th. And one thing I go
in Pennsylvania.
Up in Pennsylvania.
TremisDynamics.com.
Yeah. TremisDynamics.com, the muster. I will have a fucking website here, hopefully before then, so that I could give you links and shit. But I only got the domain back just recently. I'm working on fixing everything. It's a fucking mess because when I made it, I'm just going to start sticking shit around places until it looks okay. I'm like, oh, fuck. It's all fucked. Anyways, but something I talked about in that class, and apparently Dave Biggers also talks about it. I didn't know he did till you told me. So I'm going to just give it to him because a lot of my friends are Dave Biggers' friends and his students. So I probably absorbed the information through osmosis. Maybe I heard it. Doesn't matter. But it's zones. Red, green, and yellow zones.
Yeah, Dave Biggers has a class called the Red Zone. If you ever have a chance to take it, guys, you should take it. It's cool.
I'm going to have to. But essentially, this is your home. And you should have complete and utter dominion over this domicile. And this is a random one I found on the intranets. And here's the way, which one are we looking at here? Here's the way to look at it. It's not the same house. This is a different house. And I colored everything. Can you
I
see
couldn't tell
mouse
that was
when
you who colored it.
I know. Can you see the mouse when I move it?
Nope.
Or have I done this wrong?
Nope.
Fuck. Well,
just use your mouth. You'll be good.
yeah. If you look in the red, you'll see 3 bedrooms: master bedroom, guest bedroom 1, guest bedroom 2, and some other things. Hang on. If I maximize it, then I can read 4 bedrooms. Sorry. If you look, this is what we would call a red zone. Every shot received, every shot fired runs risk and threat of engaging somebody you don't. 9 millimeters, 5.56, 7.62, 5.45, bird shot, 22 long rifle, buckshot slug, you name it, it's going to sail right through those drywalls unless it makes contact with a person or a stud. So what you want to be paying attention to, and you should know this in your own given home, is the zoning. Green means and we're using the front door, which is where all those lines connect to, as where the bad guy's standing. So if you're in the green zone, you could pretty much make unrestricted fire without fear. Yellow zone, you start to run risks of engaging person A's bedroom. All right. So that's what you got me thinking about, because people talk about penetrative power of birdshot and such. So if we look at this, we see a bedroom to the left, stairs, hallway to the right, which probably leads to kitchen, dining room, such like that. And then at the top of the stairs is probably somebody's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a hallway cut to the right. And so we have the green space, the yellow spaces, and the red spaces. This is what, because it's not so much that you just see it from your perspective. Yes, I come down these stairs, it's all green. Okay, but the bullets go the other way too, you know. Right? That's why at the top of the stairs, it's a red zone. Because if this is where you choose to start shooting at somebody and they return fire, what is your backdrop?
Mm-hmm.
The stairs are denoted as a yellow zone due to probabilities and other such factors like that. Like, he sucks at shooting, right? We've all seen those people who just, I mean, how many videos do I need to pull up of home invaders just blind firing around the corner of the door, right? So,
in which case you'd probably want better penetration.
Yeah, so I can go through the door. Hey, if he's shooting at me, I could shoot at him. These are how the rules work.
I was thinking about making a video, like a sketch, where every time he did something with a shotgun, or like, well, yeah, you could do the racking it too, but we'll just stick to birdshot. Every time he would shoot birdshot, it would be like, this is what your gun's really saying. We shoot birdshot. It'd go like, instead of a boom, it'd be like, I'm not very good at this. My gun wasn't loaded at the beginning of the day. You already entered my house and have control of the first floor because of it. You know, like.
Well, you know, that's kind of the thing about this, though, is with the bird shot, having this be a non-lethal shot or probably non-lethal shot. You're going to, you went from, he doesn't know you're here to, he very much knows you're here and is reacting to you now.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with this. So if you look at this, unless I get the fuck downstairs and stand off to the right, or in my case, if you're from your point of view, the left, bad guy's right, you run risk of everybody the fuck else. It's not about just you. So your first shot at the top of the stairs, because this is an advantageous position, you have concealment out of the wall and the floor there, well, ceiling floor. And you get this guy shooting at you with his 9mm, probably, ball ammunition, more than likely 40 cal ball ammunition, so a little bit more oomph behind it. And what have you successfully accomplished by shooting at him with a less than lethal? And birdshot is a less than lethal.
Yeah.
Because a beanbag slug to the temple is going to kill a person.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't designed to do that. Birdshot wasn't designed to kill people, so it's a less lethal.
Oh, we
You know,
also,
and this is
also kill. We call fucking beanbags less lethal.
right. So birdshot is a less lethal. Same as in, here's not the same picture, but here's from upstairs, from your perspective, leaving your bedroom.
Yep.
Again, unless the guy stays at the staircase, which is the only green zone, because we have a red zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone. What's the yellow zone? Well, that's a closet. But where does it connect to? What's on the other side of the closet wall? Perhaps the bedroom?
And then like say the dude is staying right there in front of the bedroom door. It seems as a thing people have forgotten. You can change the angle of your shot, both by changing yourself or just by aiming at something lower on him.
Yes.
And then potentially that will give you the ability to be more lethal on him.
Yeah. It's so often I see people talk about they might miss. Okay, you might miss.
Yeah, you might.
I watched a police officer. This video is on YouTube. Burlington Coat Factory in I want to say San Diego, but just look at officer involved shooting in a Burlington Coat Factory. The officer engages the suspect with 3 shots. 2 go directly into the suspect. He drops before the 3rd shot, which was a good shot, makes contact, so it goes on into the wall, and it comes out inside of a changing room where a 12-year-old girl was hiding. Took her right the fuck out. She died. She was the only casualty because the scumbag wasn't kind enough to fucking deteriorate and die. This 12-year-old girl. And I'm not criticizing the cop.
Yeah.
There's no way he could fucking know. There's no crystal ball.
There's a discussion there, but that's not really the discussion we're having, But
right.
Yeah, that brings on one of the points we've discussed is, okay, if you're using birdshot inside the most known place that you personally set up, you're using birdshot in the most known place that you personally set up to make sure you don't shoot the wrong person. What the fuck do you carry out in public?
Yeah, you carrying a rat shot pistol? I don't want to kill him. No, you carry a 9mm, right? And that's the point. Is this is a place where missing isn't really even something you should be able to do, right? You kind of got to try to miss, and I understand what I said, but in this environment, this is your domain. You can change this whole house if you want to, unless you rent or it's an apartment. But this is a place you go. You should be able to walk it with your eyes closed.
Bookshelves are still a thing,
Yeah.
Like you can still position stuff like, hey, I don't want your bed there because if I have to shoot through the door from my door, I don't want it going to where you're sleeping. And if someone breaks in, you go into that corner. Like you should also have that shit figured out for your house all the way up into like we're reduced to just our bedroom. And I got my wife and kids in my bedroom. So where do I position them and where do I position myself?
Right.
These
are the things that matter. And look, if you don't have to leave your room, don't. My situation is I do. Right. Yeah. Due to my living conditions, I do have to leave my room.
Yep.
Because I'm not leaving my children to the wolves.
Right.
But that being said, not everybody has that situation. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do, man? Nothing. I know that sounds like horrible, but nothing. The answer is nothing.
Yeah, if there's no one you have to go get.
Yeah. Well, what about my, I can make exceptions for, my guns are in that room, right? I'm not arming bad people. That counts. I prevented him from hurting other people because what's he going to do if he steals your safe? He's going to go shoot a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but you kind of gotta flex it to make that fit, right? It's not my TV. I had to use a lethal weapon to go create reason to go stop him. Also, your guns should be a little safe.
Not my
Guns ain't good on
Roku.
you. Yeah. No, my Roku. $25. What will I do? But I've gosh fuck, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. This you can see a doorway here. You can see stairs. I didn't color code this one because
Because
I
it
just
looks so
wanted to.
nice.
I know some people live nice lives.
Don't tell anyone where this is, or they're gonna try to break in there. It's gonna.
I went to Google.com and found stock photos of people's houses. But not my fault. You put your pictures of your interior on the internets. By the way, your guys' addresses, your interiors are absolutely on the fucking internet. Letting everybody. I don't want the Roomba to scan my house. Your entire floor plan is public information, and your entire interior is on Zillow still. Like they have that in a database that you could easily requisition. Just let you know.
Okay.
Regardless, moving on. You want to look at these houses. Fuck.
Great picture.
I know. Some of them came in super nice, and then others, others just decided that they wanted to be cunts. But no, when you're looking at your house, you have to look at it from every angle and establish your zones. It's not enough to just say, "Oh, I can stand here and shoot." You go to this picture, you stand at the top of the stairs and shoot. Okay, well, there's probably a guest bedroom or a bedroom here in that doorway right in the center. That's not a good place to shoot because remember, these motherfuckers can move too. That you start shooting, what is the guarantee that shot was lethal shot?
Mm-hmm.
Right? More importantly, what is the guarantee that shot made him go outside the house versus inside? Right? Where do you want him to be? Where, if this gunfight continues on longer than it ought to, where do you want him to be versus you to be? Right? I could argue that him being outside is actually more dangerous after you shoot him than him being inside. Because if he's outside, then he doesn't have to give a fuck. And he just spray. Call his homies and spray. Right? And so that's kind of the point with why birdshot, this continues that point of birdshot. It's not just about, well, you might miss. Yeah, of course you might fucking miss. You're human. It's about what you're using as a fucking backdrop when you do this shit.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's like, it's like all the most retarded, overly safe shit I find comes from guys that don't actually understand the 4 rules. Because number 4 is there.
Right.
And know your target was in between, around, and beyond your target. Know your target, right? First positive ID, so we're not shooting the wrong person. I add into that, if you like, who is it and what's going on, right? Because if you don't know those things, maybe we shouldn't be shooting people. Not telling you not to do the right thing, not telling you to not listen to your gut or anything like that. I'm just like, shooting people should kind of be a reluctant thing. Yeah. And a lot of people have fucking died because know your target was not in there. Even in the Marine Corps, they taught us the 4 firearm safety rules. Know your target and what is beyond was rule number 5 that they would add later. But the 4th rule that they had was it was a treat, never, keep, right? Mm-hmm. And so keep, the final one was keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire or whatever, Right. So it was about a fucking safety. Doesn't apply to a Glock, doesn't apply to a revolver, like.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that I've noticed a lot of people, this zone thing, and know what your target is, what's beyond it. In a lethal shooting, contrary to what many people keep telling you, these are living, breathing, reacting, bleeding, moving, and probably dangerous human beings that are in possession of or capable of great bodily harm to you or loved ones. So the idea that you don't have to be aware of what their target is and what is beyond their target, excuse me, is a sad joke and is not appropriate in this in this measure. You know, I've seen too many situations where people are taking shots where they shouldn't be shooting. Oh, what was your backdrop? Well, and every time I've ever done a force on force engagement, I've never worried about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Well,
should.
And there also is a caveat on rule number 4, that Zach Bush adds. And I'm like, yeah. And you should also know like what your round is going to do when it hits that guy. Right.
Yeah.
Because, okay, huge crowd of people.
Yeah.
But you have to stop him. But you're like, what your round is going to do. Okay.
Anecdotally, watch what for viewers, go watch Garantham gel test the 545. Almost a 90-degree deviation with it leaving the gel. Right? A bullet goes in and it goes boop and it leaves the gel. Now, I don't know if that's verifiable. That's why I said it's anecdotally, but it is probably something you should be aware of. What does my bullet actually do? What's the failure rate? And that's something people don't realize. If you look at a company like Hornady or Federal.
Thank you for saying Hornady correctly. It kind of drives me nuts when I hear Hornaday.
My allergies are kicking up.
It's always someone trying to school everyone on
yeah, I'm so smart. It's a magazine, not a clip. Go fuck yourself.
They will say then Hornaday and Fiocchi.
Fiocchi?
Yeah, it fucking drives me nuts.
These are languages,
and
right?
And then they'll be like, and it's a magazine, not a clip. Stop saying
bayonet, not a knife.
Yeah, everyone, please stop saying it's a magazine, not a clip. No one fucking
the
cares.
People who do that were absolutely the kids who said it's an action figure, not a doll. They just never stopped.
I don't know.
But no, you
guys are sick. I don't care.
No, but you look at a company like Hornady. They have an acceptable failure rate for the expansion of their hollow point ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to open up every single time. Lucky Gunner, I don't know if you're familiar with what they did, but they used a lot of bullets to generate gel tests for almost every brand of ammunition out there. The number of bullets that brands like Federal Hydroshocks and Hornady that failed to open, right? Which means it was as good as a ball that just sucked. There's a reason, this is information you need to know. If you're going to carry a gun, you should know what the performances are of your bullets. What do you carry?
And if you're an extra worried about that type of guy, you should look at Defiant Munitions.
Yes, I was about to.
If you have questions, you can fucking call Pete, the guy who owns the company and makes them, and he will tell you
buying
all
your
the
ammunition from Pete. If Defiant Munitions isn't loaded into all your important shit, you don't care about your family. There, I said it.
Just pistols, at least. Just at least put in your pistols.
He's got his TCX line for 5.56 and 7.62.
It's sick, but like I realize shit's expensive. Start with your pistols. Start with your 9.
Start with you got. And if you start with the thing that works no matter where you are.
Yeah, if you got a 380 too. I remember watching a Grantham video where Pete's fucking Defiant 380 performed better than some of the 9mm loads. And 380 is fucking trash.
Well, Pete's family got like 1,000 years doing this.
Yeah, all right. But however, there's a caveat on Defiant Munition 380. I think it's some of the like new Smith & Wesson 380s. It doesn't load in because of some fucking nerdy chambering stuff dimensions. Okay. But you might want to ask if it'll work with your 380 gun, and also stop buying fucking 380 guns. Jesus Christ. You're not special.
If you're going to buy a 380 gun, it needs to be loaded with the Defiant Munitions. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
pick a gun that works with Defiant if you're using a 380,
yes.
and then
So
switch
7.62
over to
AKs, 5.56 ARs, 9mm, whatever.
yeah.
That's as simple as that can be.
Well-
Well, and the fact is Pete has a zero tolerance failure rate.
As far as I've seen, yeah.
Well, I've watched him throw shit away.
Yeah.
I've been to his location. I watched him make some ammunition. He measured it. It looked wrong, and he threw it in the trash. I was like, "There's no fucking way you just did that."
It's more expensive, but that's because it's the fucking best.
He gives a fuck. That's the final point on that. He cares.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want you to die because his bullet failed to operate as described. He's got the Super Dave Harrington load, which I carry, the 125 grain.
You're carrying Super Dave Harrington's load right now?
I sure am. You think I give a flying fuck? You think I haven't made that fucking joke? It has an inch of expansion. Yeah, gotcha. It's 0.05 inches bigger than the other one. So that's that. We should probably read comments quick.
Okay. But yeah, but the overall fucking thing to everything we just said is get trained, get competent.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use retarded shit from FUDs to not shoot your kids.
I made the zone thing free by doing this live stream, right? Normal, so that's a portion out of my class that I made free because this shit's important. If you can't afford a class, you should still load your guns with the shit that matters. Take it fucking seriously, right? Save up for a class, obviously. Do that, but classes are expensive. I get it.
Yeah, they are.
I call it Ashigaru Defense. My Stabus and Suba class is 300 rounds. It was the only place, and it's $400. So it was the only place I could cut the cost to make it as affordable for people as possible. Because you got the ammo cost, you got the gun cost, you got the holster, the belt, the travel, the food, the gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's been tens of thousands on fucking training every year. It is very expensive. But also, a simple thing that would fix a lot of shit is like stop watching gun tubers, watch like the instructors talk about the stuff.
Watch instructors.
Even I wouldn't say any military guy, but like, you can listen to like a podcast or something from someone talking about their experience in a real fight. Like that is better information than like the gun tubers. And I know we referenced gel tests, that is a thing you can watch, but also if that's the only content you're taking in.
Well, the thing is, and this is the challenge for people who don't have training. There is an objective technical aspect, right? I can't lie to you. And there's an anecdotal aspect. I can lie to you, right? And so when we look at things like gel tests, and if I had to pick a YouTuber that whose opinion on this shit I would trust, it would probably be Hickok 45, just because he seems like a guy who likes shooting. He doesn't seem to give a flying fuck what's in his hands. So, if you want opinions on guns, there you go. Those are shooting guns, not fighting guns, but if you need it. But gel tests, it's really hard to fuck that shit up. I mean, easier than most, but be careful taking the advice from people on the internet. I mean, we got hip firing bolt actions, a bag full of grenades. It's like, well, he was a Delta, whatever. You don't know what that means. Be honest. And Anthony Fauci is a doctor. So, every time I see people say that, it's like, I'm a veteran. It's like, and Anthony Fauci is a doctor. What's your point? Do you know who Fauci is, right?
Yeah, of course I do.
All right, better. All right, comments time.
Bayonet over birdshot. Yes.
Yep. What are you two here to impose on us? Knowledge. Allegedly. One double out buck pellet is 53.8 grams. Okay. So at home defense distances, it's the same as shooting a person with a AR-15 9 times. So there you go. There's the ballistic measurements because the 55
It's
grain.
slower. It's slower though, and it's a
Oh.
different projectional. Like that's why
Yeah.
I don't like talking much about ballistics. Is there's so many fucking variables that go into it. Like you can, I'm not a ballistics nerd, but
I'm not a
heard
ballistics nerd either.
you
I would
can-
have to pull Pete on here to do ballistics
yeah,
talking.
I've heard you can overpower a cartridge enough so that like literally the air pressure fucking makes the round fucking disintegrate.
I-
But I don't know if that's even true.
I don't know
There's
anything
so
about
much
it.
shit on there, but that like for what's in my fighting mags for my AR-15s and AKs, I have a bajillion mags loaded with ball ammo, and yeah, what would I want? I would want Defiant, but I'm telling you, like, fucking for your pistol ammo, put Defiant in there. That's the gun you're most likely to use. Rifles have killed a lot of people with, AR-15s, 55 grain, and shotguns kill bad guys really good with double-aught buck.
I'm gonna say something that might upset people, but I use a 9mm for home defense.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, certainly for you too, because you gotta grab your kids and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's something to think about, right? You know, we can easily sit there and say, well, dude who did some stuff someplace somewhere with some things runs a 10.5-inch AR-15. That's fantastic.
Yep.
And how many times have you seen him rescue children out of this imagined scenario?
Mhm.
Or maybe you live with someone who's older who can't really fucking move.
Yeah.
Right. That's
or
a
it
big
just you're fucking. We moved into a trailer, $600 a month, so I could start my business. So there's no fucking space in there. You live in a small apartment or a fucking trailer or something where there's not space. Pistol might make more sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of variability to it. I mean, my carry Glock is my home defense Glock.
Mhm.
That's why when people ask, like, what if I could get a gun, what gun? A Glock. So my first gun, a Glock.
Yeah, the first gun,
not a shotgun, not naked.
Yep.
No, Glock 17 or 19
or 45. I would tell you get 45, Glock 45. 19 slide, 17 grip.
That's right. Okay.
Yep.
Glock fucked me up on this, not you. It's like 21. It's a Glock 21, Andrew.
Okay, boomer.
But no, I say that because, again, I understand training's expensive. Trying to buy all this extra googad shit, body armor, guns, all that stuff to support. Get a Glock, get a whole bunch of fucking magazines for it. Make sure you buy 17 magazines. Don't buy 19 magazines. Buy 17 magazines. Right? Like buy 119 magazine, put it in your gun. There you go. Everything else should be 17 or bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is you might make the mistake I made where you have a shit ton of 19s and you stop carrying a Glock 19 and you go to carry a Glock 17 and now you have to buy a whole bunch of more magazines.
Yeah,
that won't fit.
Yeah, it's smart also to mark them slightly differently. Like all my training mags are pink, but my 17 rounders are like a really bright pink, and then the 15 rounders are a darker pink. And then because of get lent out to students too, I write like 15 rounds or Glock 19 on them, so it's like dummy proof. And you can also fucking do that. You don't have to necessarily paint them, but like you could write 17 on your spare mags.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff out there that help you save costs on training. Another thing, don't buy aftermarket magazines. I kind of got tired of getting burned by aftermarket magazines. I've spent way too much money on them when I know that if I'd bought OEM, I'd have been fine.
Yeah.
The only exceptions are AK magazines.
Well, talking on pistols, buy from the company, but I also am testing out the AC Unity mags right now because they were $8 a pop, and I'm like, fucking, when I go to the range, I like to have just a billion mags loaded, and so I bought like 8 more mags to
I
fuck
don't know.
around
Every
with.
time I've used a magazine other than Glock in my Glocks, I've had problems.
Oh yeah, they're giving me problems, but I'm also like, if it's just me at the range, if I'm taking a class, I would prefer not to use them unless it's like in a spot where it's not like, vital that the gun works for this entire drill, like they're getting scored or whatever.
Right.
But if they're like, yeah, just go shoot that for 2 mags, like then I'm like, yeah, I don't care if it's a shitty mag.
All right. Let's see. Reed doing 9:30 live about gas masks to give info for anyone who needs to buy one before summer hits full swing. Also send prayers to all those good people in tense places. Oh, you mean these things? There you go. Gotta get you these. This is not a Mira mask, by the way. I know Mira's got like the fucking lockdown on gas masks right now. I bought Czechoslovakian surplus, which is hit or miss. Well, so
have
here's
you
the
tested
issue.
it?
No, it's got good seal. I got a good mask. Caution to those of you who are looking to get a gas mask but don't want to pay Mira's prices. If the seal is bad on these, you have wasted money. If you look, and I didn't think that this would be a thing, but if you look here, if this is fucking damaged right here, this thick part, not this little flimsy part, if that's got a hole in it and it doesn't hold seal, you're in trouble. Because that means air gets in. If air gets in, it brings all the bullshit with it. So, and I this is coming from a guy who used to run a Russian gas mask, the old like snorkel one.
The cool looking ones.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is the modern
movie
focus don't fit in it.
Three Kings, that movie. They had them in there.
I ran the hell out of that mask. It gets tired quick because it's the whole thing. It starts to lose its elasticity. I am not praying for the people of Los Angeles, though. I hear the roof Koreans are there, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, that was the thing I was thinking about making a video on too. Is like, one of the, it's just like the whole mindset behind the things we're talking about today is like people who take violence seriously, right? And like people in LA, some of them are going to take violence more seriously now. Some of them have seen all the riots, and only now are they going to take it seriously,
And some people are going to continue to not take it seriously.
Yep.
This is not you got to remember, this is not the first time LA's been on fire, not even in recent years, right? Well, obviously we could look at Rodney King's bullshit. But first of all, don't go to stupid places with stupid people to do stupid things. All right? If you are a normal person, you have no business there. Now, if you live there, it's a different question. So real quick on that. But if you all motherfuckers didn't learn after COVID and all the misbehaviors out of the BLM riots, I can't fucking help you. You are an unhelpable human being. And I don't mean that to be insulting. You had the Rodney King riots where they burned everything down and the roof Korean gave birth to roof Koreans. You had COVID where everyone thought that we were going to turn into zombies and eat each other. You had the BLM riots where obvious things are obvious. And now you have this. And by the fourth time, you still don't have a fucking gun in training. What do you want me to fucking say to you?
Yeah, it's just some people don't take it seriously. Like I know a woman who's actually had her house broken into, and they tied up her and her kids. Doesn't carry a gun. She bought a revolver, but then she was telling me, she's like, yeah, I'm not good at shooting it though. The guy told me to buy it. This guy told me to buy it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but it's really hard to shoot. And I'm like, I don't even want to talk to you on this conversation because it's like, I don't know what else I could do to make you take this shit seriously. You've already had it happen, I guess. Thank God they didn't hurt them.
I want to
but
subpoena all gun shop owners, all gun shop clerks, and I want to put them into a contract of silence. You are not allowed to talk about anything other than the objective technicalities of a firearm. When you say no, because where the fuck does this shit keep coming from? That fucking asshole at the gun shop. Well, you know, I sell these bean bags, so I'd like you to buy the bean bags.
yeah, you'll never get rid of that.
I
Just,
know. Dreams.
Yeah, just do more
I'm
content.
anti-First Amendment when it comes to gun store clerks.
No, I support the Second Amendment, just not the first. Why? Because it spreads a bunch of bullshit about the second one.
Yeah. I got motherfuckers running around saying I carry birdshot in case I shoot my kid. If that's not evidence that we fucked up somewhere, but I don't know what to tell you.
It's like I don't have many rules, but that's number 4.
Yeah. Don't point at anything you don't want destroyed. I mean, we can't help that one in the dark sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's like, all right, keep your gun pointing in a safe direction. Never point at anything you don't intend to destroy. All right. So, middle floor of an apartment building or a mall. Where do you point it? You just walk around like this.
Don't worry, I got this.
Like, don't worry, I'm not fighting anyone now. I'm so safe. I'm gonna unload it and disassemble it until I get to the bad guy.
Yeah. I followed the California doctrine on what I should or should not do with my guns and in the home and shit. And I will never stop appreciating people telling me about city violence that drive around with gun stickers. By the way, why don't you come on over to Seattle with your gun stickered out fucking vehicle? It ain't gonna last long.
That'd be funny too. The same thing, like when you put gun stickers on your car. Free guns, break into here.
That's
I'm
all
not
it
very
is.
good at this.
That's where they all get them, right? Like, no, in all seriousness, like I fully blame gun people for why this has gotten as bad as it has. It's your guys' fault. You're the motherfuckers who go out there, put I have a gun, come get it on your shit, and then you go in the city because the missus wants to go see a movie.
It's the gun community.
Yeah.
Yep.
What'd I say? I didn't
gun
say
people.
culture.
We need to specifically name.
We're not gun people, Andrew. You're not a gun person. You're a guy who has guns, but you're not a gun person.
Yeah. Still trying to figure out a good name.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Everyone booed violent Christian extremists, and they're like, "That sounds terrible." What are you talking about?
Damn. Shit.
We're just
good thing we didn't make too much barrel.
We're trying to be competent at violence, and we love Christianity. What's the big deal?
Just call ourselves garbage instructors.
Yeah,
for lack of better
dangerous
term.
Instructors.
Dangerous instructors. But no, that when you see a guy with a gun sticker, he's a piece of shit. Don't put those stickers on.
He's a piece of shit. He just doesn't know. We all didn't know what we didn't know at one point. We've all been retarded.
How do we make it to 20? How do we make it to 2025 without knowing? Don't go into the city with gun stickers.
That's a cultural thing. That's a cultural thing, right? And just think about it like this. This is why whenever someone says it's common sense, I go, nope. There is no such thing as common sense, because every person has done something really smart and some really retarded shit. Doesn't mean that they are one or the other. And on top of that too, it's just you don't know what you don't fucking know.
Wow. I do know that these people, these cats with the Glocks with the switches, ain't getting those Glocks from the gun store. They're not getting them from the cartels. They're getting them out of your car.
Some of them are
not in high enough volumes to equate to what we're seeing.
I don't know.
Those high-end AR pistols of the neon pink variety. Those are guns that Americans own.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny one too. I had a buddy. He was a cop and a sheriff, and he was a Marine way back in the day. He actually was in Somalia. But he was he would tell me how he keeps his Glock in his glove box or whatever. And I was like, yeah, dude, don't do that. Like, just carry it on your fucking body. You're gonna arm a criminal doing that.
Yep.
Like, no, dude. And I'm in my neighborhood's so good. His car got broken into and they took his gun.
Yep. That's where they get them. I know that we don't like anti-gun groups, but they've actually done some studies on where the fuck these people are getting all these guns, and it's from your cars.
Yeah.
It's single-handedly. If we could just get people to stop leaving guns in their fucking cars.
I've had a cop say that he kept this one cheap gun in his car because if it gets stolen, then it won't hit him that bad financially. And I'm like, what the don't do that.
Should we go back to the piece of shit statement? No,
it's like, are you a piece of shit or are you retarded? Like, in this moment, what is going on?
Well, if you're retarded to the point that other people run the risk of getting hurt, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
If you make
too.
decisions that run the risk of other people getting, it's like drunk drivers. Are you retarded or a piece of shit? No, you're just a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's a piece of shit move.
Right? So you got a gun, you leave it in the car. Can you see it? No. Can you touch it? No. Is there like 12 locks and a heavy door between everyone else and it?
Yeah, no bad guys come to this neighborhood, this nice neighborhood. I'm like, yes, they do. You have the nice shit, dumbass.
I have a homeless camp being built right down the street from me right now. There's nothing I can do about it.
There's many things you could do about it. There's nothing you're allowed to do about it.
I shouldn't have said anything because you just threw my plausible deniability out the fucking window, you douche.
I didn't. Just blame me. I'll say you AI'd this whole video.
Yeah. There we go. AI.
Throwaway gun to leave in the truck? Really? He said that? That's crazy.
Don't have throwaway guns in your vehicles. Look, if I'm gonna put it to you,
those are for, like, freezers.
Yeah.
Underground somewhere.
Yeah, do that. Put a high point in a backpack and bury it 6 feet underground off in the woods. No, I'll put it to you this way: if your gun is bothering you while you carry it, either while sitting in the car or whatever, your holster fucking sucks.
Yep.
Get a better holster.
I'll give a shout out right now on that subject.
Oh.
The Tremis signature.
I
think it's called an Omega. Most comfortable holster ever.
Not in this house.
Yeah, that one's cool too. But this one
Reinforced Tactical, the Berkut.
Most comfortable ever. Discount code Combat Art.
Discount
First Wave.
Garu 10. Fuck you. Reinforced Tactical. This is my live stream, motherfucker. But the point is here's the truth of it though. I don't care if it's Green Force or that guy. Fucking have your gun on you. If you find his, not Andrew's, but what is it? Who makes that again? Andrew?
Is First Wave holsters.
First Wave holsters. If it's comfortable and helps you keep a gun on you all fucking day, by all means. Green Force Tactical, all means. Honest to God, it doesn't fucking matter. I just love Green Force Tactical shit.
Yeah.
It allows me to carry 2 Glocks on me right now. And I do it all day.
Also, not carrying a gun is gay. So just like stop worrying about what makes you comfortable and just carry your fucking gun.
Yeah, and all the time. Don't leave it in your fucking car. He said it on video too. Oh my God. Every fucking day, some other instructor comes out and says something stupid. I swear to God, they'll say these dumb as fuck things, and it's like, why though? You didn't have to say that. No, don't arm bad guys. Keep your guns in. Don't leave your guns in your fucking car. It's not a holster. It's not a safe. It's not. And I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't do you any good.
There are situations where you have to. There are. So just have a good way to secure it.
Taking my kid to the ER, they have metal detectors at the front lobby. What am I supposed to do? Not take the kid to the ER?
Reenact the lobby scene from The Matrix.
So, there's reasons, but you kind of have to have a real good reason and maybe know where you're going. Like that metal detector story, I was there the week before. They didn't have metal detectors. So why would I assume they suddenly put them in a week? So I was more of a, oh, fuck. I can't believe you guys put that here. But like the Space Needle here in Seattle, it's got metal detectors. All right, if I'm going to go to Seattle, well, then I guess I'm not going to the Space Needle. Because it's fucking Seattle. Yeah. I'm not going without a gun. You need to leave that in the car. Well, I'm not going to lose a gun to the car. Keep one starting the ceiling. Yeah, just break into the ER when they're not looking. Just start stuffing guns in random places.
Great move. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
I love Josh.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to add? We've covered, let's see.
Man, I'm gonna be dropping I'm planning on filming. Like, I gotta just take all my notes and put them together with all the creative comments and make my part 2 video of that. I want to make a part 2 to Don't Buy 300 Blackout. Also, I've been talking about that for literally.
No, don't buy. Oh God. Oh God. Oh no.
But
don't buy 300 Blackout.
It's really funny because it's like I don't fucking care about talking about ammo. I don't care about talking about reloads. Like, it's a really small portion of my class, but I've made several like too many videos on these subjects because it's like it feels like it's a fucking losing battle, and we gotta keep fighting on some of these things. And the big thing behind all of it is always just a philosophy like failure, and then also a lack of knowledge out there, like clearing malfunctions. There is a lot of really bad videos on it, and I'm just like, this, you don't actually fucking practice malfunctions. Like, and so I'm like, I feel like I need to fucking say it more, or reloads. It's always like, this is faster and you can still push a button, or, this, it's very baseline knowledge when they approach it, but maybe that's a good thing to get more views, because if you talk too in depth about shit, not many people can follow it.
That's been my experience watching, is the more you go into detail about anything, the less people pay attention to it.
Yeah, I'm about to.
It's TikTok brain. We talked about IQ. We talked about this. We talked about IQ on the phone. This is the challenge, right? Is we do these reels, and the low IQ caveman brain goes, "Ugh, no, me no like." And you do the 10, 15, 30-minute video, and they're nowhere to be found. And it's just like, oh, I lost you at some point. Oh, it's because it wasn't low IQ grade shit.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, guys, both of you have better looking facial hair than when I first saw either of you. It's true. It took me forever to grow this beard. Yeah. Can't grow hair. Might as well be able to grow a fucking beard, god damn it.
Oh yeah, and Gary's the guy who spec'd out that super cool holster that he gave me. Gary, I don't remember. I think it's an Omega. I always forget. Tremis signature. It's got this part, not the big one, and then it's got that thing. The bucket top is super genius too. I have a video I filmed with him. I need to fucking put out. I really owe it to him. I'm sorry, Gary. I sucked
can't go into the advantages of.
But I've told as many people as I could about the holster and made people wear it.
Again.
And some people bought it.
If it keeps you from leaving a fucking gun in the car, go get whatever brand you need to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that fucking matters to me. It's like, oh, well, the appendix holsters do this. Like, no, I don't give a fuck if it's not important. Having it is more important. Running back to the car is not an option.
Turtle, the point on 300 blackout and why not to buy it is motherfuckers buy it for the stupidest reasons, and then they have no training after that, and they're thinking, buy the Gucci gun, I have solved my problem. And then it's like, I've seen one, maybe 200-300 blackouts. No, maybe 3 out of all the classes I've taught and all the ones I've taken. Maybe 300 blackout rifles come through a class.
Buy an AK like a man. There you go. You have your 30 caliber intermediate cartridge carbine. You don't need the 300.
But buy an AR-15 first because it's easier to get shit. But
no, buy an AK and only an AK because AK is only.
And also buy your soap from myhealthysoap.com.
Oh yes. We have to support everybody's.
Not many people know this, but if you're buying soap from another place, you're literally rubbing gay chemicals into your body. If it's called anything other than soap, it's legally a detergent. You're supposed to wash the floor with that. And also, I think Tom will agree, Fabuloso is definitely more harmful to the human body than cigarettes. Because we just moved into our new place. It still smells like Fabuloso, and I hate it, you know. But yet, I've never seen someone kicked out of a place because they have Fabuloso.
You ready? We had a parakeet long time ago. Super great bird. Is like one of the, you see the video of birds. It comes to your finger, hangs out, does all the bird shit. It was a good bird until we mopped the floors with Pine Sol. Then we did not have a bird.
Wow.
So think about, and Fabuloso does the exact same thing as Pine Sol. So that shit that has chemical in it enough to choke out a fucking parakeet is what you're putting on your body. Mm-hmm. And you're going to expect it not to have other problems or issues with the rest of you.
Fabuloso is not a soap. It's a floor cleaner thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Pine Sol is not a soap either.
Yeah, I know. It just, you said put it on your body. It sounds like it.
I am reinforcing your point, fucker.
Yeah, just do it good next time.
Do it betterer. No, you should.
And stop squinting at me.
I can't help that.
It's all right. Mine's worse.
It took a lot. It took me a lot of effort.
Wolfpack saw my interview with Jaeger. Thank you for watching.
Dude,
I washed my clothes with Fabuloso. Fuck, I guess it's back to Pine Sol.
No, not Pine Sol. Yeah. Pine Sol will do it to you too.
You should just mock people and just do that whenever it's a white guy.
I do. I'm a star child.
Dude, you look like a fucking alien doing that.
Asians aren't meant to open their eyes that wide. It's not good for us. It causes blindness.
Like, holy shit, I've been driving the other way the whole time.
Well, thankfully, I'm not that Asian. I'm the worst kind of Asian. Because I can drive. I can't do math. I don't know shit fuck about computers, and my credit score is trash. Turtle's right. You should buy both AKs and ARs.
You should buy training before that. It goes like this: Glock 19, Glock 45, whatever. 9mm
17, 19, 45.
AR-15. But with those, you get training. And also, how many motherfuckers own a 300 blackout and 0 medical gear?
It's like those people.
Pretty retarded behavior. That's why I say don't buy 300 blackout. But I could have made the point more clear the first time I made the video. I wasn't very good at making videos back then. But it got a lot of views.
You know who else doesn't have medical? People with scars.
Yeah.
They don't fucking. That's a $3,000 fucking rifle. You can't afford a tourniquet.
Yeah, and I will also say that little Blue Force gear thing you put on your war belt. That's a beginner medical kit and you need more,
Oh,
like
you
that
mean to
doesn't
tell
count
me
for
that
having
these med
medical.
kits, the AR-500 included with my shit, aren't real medical kits? I mean, they are, but they
Yeah,
aren't.
it's starter kit, sure,
Yeah,
but
to start, I got way more.
fucking, I don't know, like the medical bag that goes with me in my vehicle is definitely more expensive than most people's EDCs. So
See, now a medical bag is something you can leave in the car.
mhm.
Bad.
Yeah, fucking yeah. I mean, replace the stuff that needs it. Seals will go bad. Your chest seals will go bad, but
Yeah. But that's
yeah.
something that you can leave in the car. Like
And
one of
even
those
if
big fucking bags, leave that shit in the car.
yeah, even if
Absolutely.
those seals do go bad, at least you fucking for sure brought it with you.
Have duct tape.
Yeah.
Back it up. Duct tape that bitch.
Duct
I'm
tape
just
is
saying.
really good for a lot of stuff.
There's things we can leave in cars. There's things we can't. Medical bags you can leave in a car. Pocket lifesaver kits, like what Student of the Gun sells, as another friend,
Mm-hmm.
which he Paul figured out how to get you gauze, tourniquet, nose hose, decomp needle, gloves, and everything else into a tiny little bag that fits in your pocket. You should probably get one, put it in your pocket.
My the pocket trauma kit I designed, they actually bought one to see if they would be able to use it for that, but it probably would have made it too expensive since they didn't end up using it.
Who's Student of the Gun?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been their ongoing challenge, is trying to figure out how to make it affordable, but also fit.
I think a plastic bag makes total sense for a kit you're selling. The stuff I make is more like, it makes it way more convenient. And if you like cool gear that works good, then yeah, you'll like my shit. But
you know why else they use the
I have the
plastic
most
bag,
expensive ankle medical kit in the universe. It's also the best one. It's also the biggest one, because I don't want to carry a beginner trauma kit. I want a trauma kit.
You know why he uses the plastic bag, right?
It says seal also.
Yeah, it's a seal also.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Makes total sense.
And of course, obviously, there's probably better medical kits out there. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But again, what's your wallet tell you can get away with?
Mm-hmm.
You do what you can afford. It's like he's got a rat's tourniquet, and I know that just like caused 1,000 heads to explode.
Yeah.
With the force of 1,000 suns. Rat's tourniquets are fine. Okay? Like, learn how to use that shit.
Captain Crouton, what's a good affordable med kit for poor bastards that use Fabulous to wash their clothes? So yeah, the Student of the Gun's got one. I'm not sure how much that one costs. Tactical Response also has the ventilated operator kit. But also look at Rhino Medical. Now, it's not TCCC approved anything. I have either 6 or 8 Rhino Medical aluminum windlass tourniquets, and we've been using exclusively those in class. And we have torn them up. We have not completely broken one yet. I've had those since Recon Medical went away. So like definitely over a year. I think it's about 2 years now. But the aluminum windlass tourniquets from Rhino Medical, my experience, they have been great. So maybe you buy a couple and inspect them, make sure they look good. Now, the little thing about the delamination, so they got those plastic wings and a little bit of the Velcro will come unglued. Yeah, it can be fixed with super glue. And even if that completely came off, it doesn't mean the tourniquet's not going to work. It just means the time tab's not going to Velcro on. But even then, I don't think that can completely come off. I'd have to look at one right now. The delamination thing is bullshit. Tourniquets are simple. It's a fucking strap that you're making tight to compress your artery against your bone so that blood stops flowing. It's a fucking strap. So, and also most of the videos like out there about tourniquets are totally retarded, and they're like, here's one big thing. If they're not putting it as high as possible, as tight as possible, they're not good at applying tourniquets. If they have to look at it, they're not good at tourniquets. Under 30 seconds, as high as possible, as tight as possible, without looking at it. That's my baseline standard for tourniquet application. I got that from tactical response also. So I'll give them credit. Immediate action medical attack response, great class. Advanced immediate action medical tactical response is my favorite tactical response class.
I'm just gonna keep pimping Paul over here.
Yeah, I haven't trained with Paul yet, but
I have. He's
Yeah.
a good friend of mine. Those of you who don't know, Paul Markle of Student the Gun wrote James Yeager's book. Well, didn't write it exactly, but finished it. He has writing credit on that. To answer the question, a pocket lifesaver kit from Student of the Gun is $52.79.
Yeah, great deal.
Pretty fucking low cost. He's got a book called Beyond the Boo Boo. He's got a class called Beyond the Boo Boo. It used to be called Beyond the Band-Aid, but I guess Band-Aid wasn't super thrilled about their brand being used, so they made him stop that.
The and there's the immediate action medical DVD is pretty good. It's not, it's 3 hours of a 2-day class, so it's not, and it's a very abbreviated, but it'll get you going in the right direction. So that's always an option. Prepared Patriot has a good medical class I've taken.
Homestead Medical.
Yep, Homestead
Chuck
Medical is another one. There's
so much out there.
Iron Forge Consulting also.
You should, Captain Crouton. You should.
Yeah.
It's cumulative though, so you just buy one. That works for whoever's injured. Then you buy another.
The question was, do I need a med kit for each family member? Yes. And also consider, because I said the Blue Force Gear one is a starter medical kit. It has one thing for each wound, right? Which is awesome until you need a tourniquet on 2 or 3 different limbs, and one of them fucking isn't working. And so you need to put another one on top of that on that limb. So tourniquets, chest seals, decomp needles. Those are the 3 things I think that you should stock up to have more of over time, right? Not saying you need to carry fucking 8 tourniquets in case the first one doesn't work on each of your limbs, but investing in more of them over time. If there are 3 things, it would be tourniquets, there's the camera, chest seals, and decompression needles. Those 3 things invest in more. Gauze is really cheap. You can get a shit ton on Amazon, but also your t-shirt will work to pack wounds. You can pack dirt. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. There's a lot of things you can improvise. But fucking chest seals and duct tape kind of sucks. If you're gonna do that, fucking just take plastic and put it over it. You want Gorilla Tape, the really good duct tape, and even that still sucks, especially when they're sweaty and bloody. But the Rhino Medical tourniquets I told you about, the aluminum windlass ones, I think they're $20 a pop right now. And if they have a sale, you should buy a shit ton. I bought them way before that. I think I paid $10 a pop for some of them.
You're right, Turtle. Snake staff tourniquet are pretty nice. I got 2 of them.
I don't like them, but I like that everyone's carrying them. They're at least carrying medical. I just don't like using it.
Why? It's just a cat.
No, not really. It's
tiny cat.
I was getting annoyed by the clipping it in, and also if you had to go back to tighten it more, then you have to work around that clip thingy. And I prefer just the same. Honestly, right now the Rhino Medical aluminum windlass is my favorite. That or an actual Gen 7 cat. Yeah, I don't like that part.
You can take it off, right?
Is that going to prevent it from locking on the other side if you twist it the other way?
Why would it do that? You would still
hold it up to the camera real quick. As long as I would try taking it off and seeing if you twist so it locks against the side that doesn't have the thing coming over. See if that's easy to nudge out while it's on you. The other thing is, and I don't want to fuck with it right now, but I gotta get going. I gotta
eat dinner.
But
this is supposed to be an hour long.
but the two things, take the thing off and see if, because you got like one side that's like that and one side that's kind of like that. Lock it to that side where, because this will prevent it from slipping out, right? Lock it to this side where it doesn't have the thing slipping, preventing it from slipping out, and see if like bumping it and stuff will make it fly out. The other thing is just use it normal, lock it in, and then try to unlock it to give it another rotation. Maybe it's like hard for you to do. You have to have someone else give it that extra rotation, but the unlocking it out to rotate more is a thing where I was like, yeah, I don't really care for it. But they are really small, and that's getting more people carrying them. So just like if you're carrying a 380 and 7.9 like that, hey, at least you fucking have it, And also for you people using birdshot, like just eventually put something good in it. I'm glad you have a gun, but put something good in it, please. Yeah.
If you're worried about the recoil, Aguila mini shells, but slugs now.
Yeah, I wonder those might not even penetrate that, but I don't know.
I said slugs. Aguila mini slugs.
I haven't messed with them at all. I try to keep it common shit. I try to make everything I have as easy to get as possible.
They're not overwhelming.
Yeah.
They're their buckshot is like inferior birdshot. But I loaded slugs, so, and that's still a 12 gauge, 1 out, 3/4 ounce slug flying through the air at velocity. So, and then a lot of them. So,
yeah.
So that was the only thing. The only problem is if you have like an older Mossberg, you need Texas upgrade there. The new Mossberg 590s don't have that issue. They fix the elevators. I'm told. I'm told.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is what happened.
I know there's like the S model, and I think that's so that they can use as many shells, but I just haven't fucked with them at all. I'm like, common stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
I want to be able to just go
common cartridges, common solutions.
Yep.
That's all I got. So, well, thank you.
Another reason not to buy 300 Blackout, by the way.
It's not a common cartridge, so it has uncommon solutions.
Yep.
Buy an AK. Buy a 5.45 AK.
Yeah, if you really want your shit to be common, yeah, that's a great way to go.
Hey, the Chinese and the Russian, well, actually, the Chinese, never mind. I take it all back because the Chinese aren't running 5.45 anymore.
Yeah.
They switch.
I want a AK-74 for the cool factor. I have justified not buying it so many times, but I eventually want one just to use for videos, then teach with it for my rifle classes for like a year or whatever. And then when I'm down to just like 20 mags worth of ammo loaded, I'm just going to set those aside with the gun.
Get yourself a AK pistol in 5.45 so that you can upset the ATF. It's been banned by the ATF.
Really?
Yeah. That was with that 7.6 ban. The ATF stated that the 7.6 bullet out of the Krinkov size AKS-74U was armor piercing due to the small metal core of the bullet. Why do you think people make 5.45 AK rifles but no AK pistols in 5.45? They make them in 5.56, 7.62, but no 5.45. Go look. Pissed me off.
That's interesting.
Yeah, fuck the ATF. And fuck FUDs.
Yeah.
Yes, you FUDs. You motherfuckers are why that happened. They're going to be in green tips. All right. It's good talking to you. Thanks for hopping on here. But I'm hungry.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Time to eat dinner.
Yep. All right, bro. You have a good night. Everyone watching, you have a good night. Hey, Combat Arts Summit, Great Kentucky at Taprack Ridge, September 27th and 28th. Tom has a discount code. I have a discount code.
I don't have a discount code. You still ain't.
Oh, that's right. I need to do that.
I'm still not even on the fucking list.
I'm sorry. I actually need to get back to Paul too, because he emailed me a thing, and then was like, hey, are we good? Yeah, but yeah, I'm fucking sewing, moving shit, taking classes,
Everybody who
and
knows you
teaching.
knows I'll be there, and
Yeah,
sign up. Doesn't bother me.
everyone on the list can get you $100 off if you've trained with them already. They have a discount.
Nobody's trained with me, so ha.
But yeah, go to that. Also, for people who want to come to Florida this Friday, Violent Dynamic Variables, basically moving targets, shooting on the move, using cover, that type of stuff is all we're working on Friday at Area Training Facility in Leesburg, Florida. So pretty dope class. Turtle, you should be there.
So,
and also Turtle has Iron Pig armament. So since he was joining us, we should definitely shout him out. I've got a really cool little 10.5-inch gun from him.
I don't have anything from him. So you do the scouting.
And every time I've seen Tom, shut up. I'm trying to pimp Turtle's shit.
I was about to pimp his shit. Apparently, he made an AR so good that Sonny Puzikas adopted it.
Yeah, I shot it. It was pretty cool.
There you go.
But every time I've seen one of Turtle's guns, they run, and also Turtle actually takes classes, unlike most of the motherfuckers you buy guns from. So that's pretty cool. You should buy guns from Turtle at Iron Pig Armament. And then Turtle, drop a link in this chat, and then also a link after this video is done being live in the normal comments, because that will be like the first thing they see.
Yeah. Way to give the viewer homework.
Although he's too busy to come to my classes lately, which is pretty lame.
That's okay. So, everybody's too busy.
If he's not there Friday, I'm going to start making up rumors and lies about his guns.
Rumor has it they're all secretly AKs. They're trans rifles. AKs that identify as ARs.
Yeah. No, hybrid ARs are trans guns. The ones that take AK mags, I can't stand that.
I like that mutant. Or I don't think it's called the mutant anymore, but it runs fine.
I like AKs that take AK mags. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah. AKs that run AR stuff.
Oh no, I need it. I need the safety lever like this. It's so much more ergonomic using an AR with this magazine.
I don't know. You should see the way I run ARs. It pisses people off because I'll do this with the AR. Well, because little do you know, if you have one of those extended charging handles, you can reach up here, grab it, and just slap like that, and it runs the charging handle.
Yeah, that's how I run a 240 also.
I don't know how to run 240.
Exactly.
I'm better than you. Be jealous. There. I rounded it back to the original. All righty.
All right. Later.